Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comedian and host of Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. It is Monday morning. Hello folks, February 22nd, 2021. That's 2-2-2-2-1, or if you're in Europe, that's 2-2-2-2-1. Hey folks, how are you? Good to see you guys. Good to hear from you. I'm a little late on this video this morning. We've been moving out of my studio apartment, upgrading to a 2-bedroom house where I will have a Bachelor Recap empire. We're going to call it the Bachelor Pad, which is weird when my fiance is like, Dave, are you in your Bachelor Pad? Hey, honey, I am. You know what I mean? You got to find a place to go, folks. She's like, go burn off some steam in your little Bachelor Pad over there. I will. Hello, folks. We got one for you today. As you can see, Chris Harrison. The story continues. And for all the people that are like, leave Chris Harrison alone, I'm just reporting on the stories, folks. That's all. You're not going to get mad at CNN if they're reporting on the Iran deal or something like that. You know what I mean? Let's just bring the people the news. A lot of people are upset that this is still a thing, but like whether you like it or not, it is. So I've got 3 sub-tier Chris Harrison stories. The Cameo debacle, Cameo-Gate. We'll talk about that. And if you don't know what Cameo is, you're old, Rebecca. Get with the times. Then we've got the second story, which is the Women Tell All special. Are they going to scrap the Women Tell All? And are they editing Chris out of these final episodes? And then the third segment of the Chris Harrison story here is Fox News. You know me, love my Fox. If I'm not getting my info from The Sun, I'm getting it from Fox News. One of those things you shouldn't stare at too long. And then The Sun's not bad either. Hey, folks. Mondays, we're getting into it. The Fox News story is that cancel culture has gone too far. Save Chris Harrison, one of those stories. We'll talk about that. And after all of that, I will give you my updated opinion, which may have shifted a little bit, so we'll get into all that. But first things first, Cameo. Do you guys know what Cameo is? It's essentially a place where celebrities and influential people can sell their likeness. They can sell shout-outs. A lot of people that do it will donate their income to charity. But, I'm under the mindset that it's a free market economy. If people want to pay you to wish them a happy birthday, then so be it. And you can name your own price. Peter Weber goes for like a 6-pack of beer, and then Chris Harrison's $500. Madison Pruitt, she's just, praise the Lord. She'll just read a Bible verse for free. I don't know what's going on over there. Nothing against that, folks. Pray for me. All right, so the first things first is they found out that Chris Harrison has been slinging cameos ever since his debacle. Are we okay with this? Is this a problem? Is he allowed to make a living? How far are we supposed to cancel him? You know what I mean? So Bachelor data, they're really doing the Lord's work. What's up, Maddie? They're really just crunching the numbers. They've got an incredible Instagram of data, going over how much screen time white women got versus people of color, who's on their cycle and how much they showed their bloat, whatever. They got a lot, okay? They got a lot. So they posted these cameos right here. This is on their Instagram stories. These are new cameos that have posted since Chris Harrison's statement. And so people wonder, well, I thought you were figuring yourself out. I thought you were learning about yourself. I thought you were pledging to do better. It turns out you're making $500 to wish Stacy and Ryan, a happy engagement. Listen, Stacy and Ryan, it ain't gonna work out, okay? You got engaged at Disney World during a pandemic. If that ain't bad luck, I don't know what is. No amount of Epcot Center is gonna save you from the old bat soup flu that you got over there. Okay, so in short, Chris made but my goal is to offend enough people that you don't even know what to complain about in the comment sections. All the Floridians are like, well, don't bring your Democratic views over here. I don't know why they sound like that. And then, I made fun of hillbillies. God forbid the hillbillies get one once in a while. Luckily, they won't know I made fun of them. They don't have 5G yet. And, all right, folks, in short, Chris made his statement, but is still having fun over on Cameo, benefiting from the show. Chris, don't you realize you can't have fun? That's illegal. No fun. So look at birthday celebration, anniversary. He's just giving the people what they need. Now, people had wondered, well, what if people had bought these cameos for $500 a pop, and he has to publish them so he can get his pay. You don't get charged until the cameo is completed, because sometimes you pay $500 and then you want Chris to say something kind of off color, and he's like, I ain't doing that one. Even Chris has his morals, boundaries somewhere or another. So then Bachelor data, look, they went into the source code to confirm and I'm just taking their word for it because I can't read this, but they went into the source code to confirm that he made and completed these cameos after his statement. His statement was on February 13th. Ooh, right before Valentine's Day. Bad luck. Better buy some extra chocolates and flowers. I'm looking at you, Lauren. So then 6 days later, he was working on cameos for Bachelor fans. I guess the question is, are we okay with this? Who are we to decide whether or not, he can make $500 selling his cameos? Is it a bad look? Let me tell you this. It's a bad look. It's just a bad look. You're in a tough spot. You're under the microscope. It's just a bad look. And the thing is, with every cameo he's sending, I'm sure it's positivity and love. Congratulations on your wedding anniversary. Congratulations, the rash went away. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's good. Wouldn't you love Chris Harrison being like, you are not the father? Wouldn't you love, forget Maury Povich. I want Chris Harrison being like, okay. This is going to be a long one. So people asked, do you know if maybe he's donating the profits to Cameo? And then the answer is he's not. Look down here. You can see this little heart signal, which will say whether or not the contestants are donating their cameos. And those are the icons that show profits are going to charity. Look, that doesn't mean, by the way, his price was $500 and he dropped it to $350. Wholesale value, folks. It doesn't mean that he's not donating to charity. It just means he's not donating to charity through the app. I don't need to be, Chris Harrison's IRS guy. I spent all day yesterday looking at Dale Moss's toes, Egyptian toes for the win, but I don't need to be looking in too far. You know what I mean? So who knows? Who knows what he's doing with his charitable donations? And then, but this is the conclusion for people that are upset. Here's a problem with Chris still using Cameo. He publicly represents himself on the platform in affiliation with The Bachelor. His statement said, to that end, I have consulted with Warner Brothers and ABC and will be stepping aside for a period of time. So while he says he's stepping aside, he's still using his likeness. But that's like if Jeff Probst stepped aside from Survivor. He's still the Survivor guy. Just because someone steps aside doesn't mean you can't make them what they're not. You know what I mean? Tom Brady went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's still the best quarterback of all time in Patriots Nation. Like to weave in a little Tom Brady reference. The best thing to happen to Florida, guys, was Tom Brady. Let me tell you that. All right, Florida, calm down. Have a daiquiri. You'll be fine. All right, so then they checked his Cameo page again this morning, and it looks like he's back up, and he's reduced his price to $350. So his price was $500. He reduced it to $350. Hey, but look at that, his reviews. He's got a 5-star review. And how sad is this? Is that you can do 4 interest-free payments of $88 with the firm. Listen, excuse me. If you need to make 4 interest-free payments to get Chris Harrison to send you a shout out, you probably shouldn't be using Cameo. I think if you're even wondering, maybe I should do a payment plan for this Cameo. Don't do it. This is for frivolous things, folks. All right, moving along. What else do we got here? So on his Cameo, they said, look, now it says notify me when available. So he's clearly shut down future requests for his Cameo. But again, who are we to decide how he makes his money? And people go, oh, geez, I thought Chris Harrison was doing better. I didn't know he needed to go on Cameo. Imagine that, folks. Imagine taking one selfie saying, happy birthday, Myrtle over there, and you make 500 bones. Lauren Zima needs a new necklace. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Maybe that's just his fun money. Someone posted this on Reddit. My boss made us prayer candles for 2020, and this was mine, and it's a candle of Chris Harrison. Please light that candle and send your prayers out for him, because it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good for him. Weird times we live in, folks. Weird times we live in. I'm going to share the Fox News article, as you do. But first, this is Bachelorette Windmill, as we know from the good old-fashioned. Was it Peter Weber? Was he the one who had a tryst in the old windmill? Sustainable energy, Green New Deal. If the windmill is swinging, don't come on. Okay. Host hell. Bachelor execs reducing Chris Harrison's screen time for remainder of Matt James season, as Women Tell All may not air. Producers are currently working with editors to reduce the amount of screen time Chris has for the already filmed episodes from the remainder of Matt's season. This is the hard part, because Chris Harrison really, this is when he comes in, when it's down to the wire, and they're like, are you going to choose so-and-so or so-and-so? And then Chris Harrison looks at you with that dad look like, you should know what to do, son. And you're like, I don't. I'm on your show. Tell me, who do I pick? Can I look at their credit scores, Chris Harrison? Can we get some psych evaluations? Please, help a brother out. The informant continued their scrambling to get Monday's episode changed. His role will be reduced as much as possible. This is one of those things. This is so stupid, right? I'll tell you why this is stupid. This is a show of, this is the Bachelor producer's way of saving face. Look, guys, we all know what happened We all know this was filmed months ago. Can we not walk and chew gum at the same time? That, the idea of walking and chewing gum at the same time is going to be something I'm going to harp on, because it's almost like we have such a specific one-track mind that we can't wonder if we're going to cancel Chris Harrison and also think, well, maybe he's going to do cameos for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it right, guys. There's things that aren't right that you don't believe in, but they still happen, okay? You might not be a fan of Donald Trump, but 75 million people still voted for him. So we can't just dig our heads in the sand and pretend like this world doesn't exist. This world exists. Maybe on Reddit or maybe on Twitter, everyone agrees with you. I get that. I understand. I love that. You know what I noticed, maybe not this year because of the pandemic, but when you do stand up in front of different crowds, yeah, Los Angeles thinks a certain way, but then I drive 1 hour north, it's a different world up there. It's a different world. You go 1 hour south, it's a different universe. So, the idea that we all live in our own pockets, I get it. I get progress. I get wanting new things, but we shouldn't be surprised when, when we're trying to sort of scrub our history. It's like the show just was shot 5 months ago. We're going to change. What are we going to just CGI like a Pixar character in Chris Harrison's place? So here's what's interesting. Fox News, okay? And of course, I'm going to share with you a media bias chart, which shows, you know what? I'll share it with you first. So this goes in both directions, a media bias chart, right, folks? So down the center, the highest ranking on this chart means it's the most neutral reporting. And if you look all the way on the left, the original fact reporting. The farther down you go on the chart, the more fabricated the information is, the more it's propaganda, select, or incomplete. So if you look on the left side, MSNBC, opinion, fair persuasion, and hyper-partisan left. The exact opposite of MSNBC would be OAN and Fox News, which is opinion, fair persuasion, and skews right. Do we understand the difference? If you want just facts without an opinion, like so-and-so got murdered by so-and-so, the facts would be AP, Reuters, even the Weather Channel is like the most honest. ABC, CBS, these are in the dead center. If you want the opinion, it'll be like, so-and-so got murdered because they're scared of people. You know what I mean? Like, that's where the opinion comes in, when they start telling you how to think. Are we okay with that? Do we understand that before we're like, well, I don't know. I think that's all fake. So when you say fake news, it's biases, okay? So let's go work in that. So with Fox News, I mention that because, it's not just, Fox News is bad. No, yes, they are very highly opinionated. It's very hard to watch Fox News or read an article and know the difference between their news program and their entertainment program. As you know, they've had lawsuits where they've had to fight to say, no, we're not news, we're entertainment. So we can skew things for entertainment value. Well, here's some entertainment value for you guys. Chris Harrison's removal from Bachelor is unconscionable example of cancel culture, critics say. So of course, this is an opinion piece. This is not how everybody thinks. So before you leave a comment saying, oh, Dave, you're against this and that, shut it, Monica, okay? Just shut it down. I'm going to read the article, then we'll talk about it. The longtime host announced he's stepping aside from the ABC franchise due to an ongoing racism controversy involving contestant Rachel Kirkconnell. Now, here's the funny thing, is that people are using cancel culture as a blanket term. Even Trump's defense for his impeachment said, you can't cancel 75 million votes. It's like, we're not canceling 75 million votes, you idiot. You know what I mean? But when you just say, oh, if they're canceling it, then I'm against it. All right, Deborah, just calm down and do some critical thinking. For God's sake, don't use God's name in vain. Shut it up. Okay, guys, really digressing here. The removal of Chris Harrison as host of The Bachelor. By the way, you got to crack a couple eggs to make an omelet, folks. I'm losing people on both sides. I get that. But for the majority of us 90%ers who are somewhere in the middle, just one or two atoms knocking each other in the brain, this is for us. Everyone else, you're gone too far. You're done. On Saturday, Harrison, 49, announced he was stepping aside from his years-long role as the MC of the ABC franchise. So in his response, critics took issue with Harrison said he was not defending Rachel, but rather questioning if that type of themed party would be frowned upon in the same lens in 2018 as it does in 2021. What this article doesn't mention was Chris interrupting Rachel Lindsay, was him sort of not listening to her opinion as the first female black bachelorette. So there's a lot of nuance that goes missing in this article. A lot of times when people say, oh, so-and-so didn't say anything wrong, well, you're not taking into account tone, your position on the show, and also you're not taking into account the decades of just whitewashing of the show. You know what I mean? Like, only in the last couple of years did they start to bring a more diverse cast. Yeah, sure, you can find some random race car driver with ethnic blood, or you can find, of course, we're a melting pot, but the overall, what's it called? The straw that broke the camel's back here. And there's no healthcare for the camel. You know, they got to start a GoFundMe account and cross their fingers, right? Pray for the camel is what you need to do. But the straw that broke the camel's back here was this interview. This wasn't the be-all, end-all. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, which we don't get into the nuance of that in this article. Political satirist, is that right? Oh, boy. Edit that out. I'm an idiot. Political satirist Tim Young. Am I saying that right, Tasha? People don't know if Tasha's real if I just go to the left. Satirist? Does that say? Hey, Tasha, do you want to come into this video? People are begging you to... You got to leave? Tasha's got to make a smoothie, guys. Do you want me to pause this? No, that's going to edit too much. We can't pause it here. I made you a sandwich. It's in your cooler. Did you see the sandwich? All right, Tasha's got a sandwich for her. I'll be done here in a second here. He made the point that what this contestant, really unprofessional, my recapping, folks. I do apologize. We're in the middle of a move. Everything's vacuum sealed and ready to go. He made the point that what this contestant did attending that party in 2018 was still okay, and now in 21, it's not because everybody is being offended by cancel culture. Essentially, Harrison is being canceled for noting the nuance of cancel culture, not for his support of going to some party. This is a meta cancellation. He's being canceled for pointing out that cancel culture has shifted in 3 years. You know, there's a point to what he's saying. We all get triggered by saying there's nuance to cancel culture and this and that, but we have to be hyper-focused. Chris Harrison, you know, it's almost like if you get in a fight with your significant other, and sometimes people don't say exactly what they need to say to get out of that fight, but you have to look, do they mean well? Are they trying their best? You know, sometimes, early days of our, fighting and arguing, sometimes you have the worst apology ever. Like, I'm sorry if I made you mad. And the person goes, oh my gosh, how could you be so? And it's like, oh, no, I am sorry if I made you mad. But you got to realize that throwing the if in and the conditional state, things can shift. It's all about tone. It's all about accepting apology. It's all about knowing when you went wrong. So what Chris Harrison's mistake was, in my opinion, is that he was so quick to he was so hyper-focused on the business of The Bachelor, which was protecting Rachel Kirkconnell, that he wasn't worried about the people that for 6 or 7 weeks have been, consumed in marinating in the fact that nobody's doing anything about, no one's making any statements about the racial, the racist issues, and that had all boiled over. And then all of a sudden he's like, let's just give her a little grace. And people are like, grace, shove it up your, fantasy, whatever, So you got to understand the nuance to it all and why people are upset. And I've had people from both sides say, you know what, Dave, you're apologizing for him, and then other people say, you know what, Dave, you're contributing to cancel culture. My opinion on this matter is that, when HR, they go, you don't just get fired normally. They're like, look, here's your warning. You need to do better, X, Y, and Z. Chris has been warned. Bachelor has been warned by people like Rachel Lindsay saying they're going to boycott several years ago. They have been warned. Is there a step between being warned and kicking him off the show? If there is, what does that look like? I think there needs to be more conversation as we talk about walking and chewing gum, where Chris can actually listen to people and continue his job on the show. Now, obviously, they have to make big changes on the show. But the beautiful thing is, Bachelorette is supposed to start filming in 1 month. So they can make changes right now on the show, and he can show that he's willing to change with it. So be a part of the dialogue moving forward, because like Trump's defense lawyer said, you can't cancel 75 million people. There's a ton of people that think everything's about cancel culture, and they can't look at the specific issues. So I think it's better off if Chris Harrison is there as their cancel culture shaman to walk them through this journey so that they can understand, look, he did make a mistake. He is apologizing. Just like Rachel Kirkconnell made a mistake and she did apologize. Now just come with me as we guide our way through this and learn to be better people from it. Is that too hard to ask for? Leave a comment. I'm sure on one side or another, I done messed it up for you guys. But I do see a world in which he can come out of this alive, but it's not a world where you just hide behind a PR statement. So instead of doing cameos, Chris Harrison, get out there and start sharing your message about how you feel like you said all the wrong things, but it's not what was in your heart, and this is what you're doing to make it better. I mean, you can't have Rachel Kirkconnell, a 23-year-old from Forsyth County, Georgia, do a better job than you. What we have to realize is people like Chris Harrison, you can be smart intellectually in a lot of ways, but still tone deaf, and he's got a lot of tone deafness going on. So I think PR is set in an old business model where it's like, just ignore it, it'll die down. Not with social media, it's not going to die down. Confront it head on. Talk to people willing to listen. Go on any different podcast you can imagine. Listen, be berated, hear people out, share your side. People are more willing to accept apologies. People are more, we don't give humans enough benefit of the doubt that even with your arch enemy, when you sit at each other on a table and break bread, you can find common ground. We need more of that in this country. Dave Neal for host of The Bachelor. I'm just kidding. They can't afford me, folks. I'll start a cameo. Anyway, folks, so this is it. And then, did I have anything else? Oh, here's a funny, Fox News accidentally, I meant to show this earlier with the media bias. They accidentally posted a stat. Who do you trust more? And Fox News came out at 30% to CNN's 48%. That's a funny one. They only polled 803 people, so who knows? They didn't poll my parents, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, folks, listen, leave a comment. We got a ton of videos coming tonight, Monday night, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I do my West Coast live stream for the after the show. It's going to be a good one tonight because we know Matt James gets in a big fight with Chris Harrison. I think I know what it's about, and I think I have a lot to say about it. Leave a comment, hit the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And if you really want to stay in touch, I'll be releasing merchandise, and there's a link, the first link in my description. If you click on that, you can be a part of my mailing list. No spam. I'm not going to sell your information. You just type it in. It's free, and then that lets me let you know when I got tour dates in your town, when I release merch, and all this other thing that's coming out. So anyway, folks, I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.